this is something that all of you should be paying attention to.
This drug is a monster.
They're trying to find Narcan as possibly an overdose.
These people didn't even realize they were selling the most dangerous drug in the world.
I call kind of bullshit on that because, let's be honest, there's a deep section of their brain where they're like, something doesn't feel right about doing this, and they still did it.
One of the major causes of the opioid crisis in the first place is overprescribing by doctors.
We were ignorant, and we've suffered in that. Matter of fact, we paid great price for that. They did.
I don't believe that for a fucking second, because everybody fucking knows that there were all these like dark, like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you all these pills, and you just you just give them to whoever the hell you can. It is such a corrupt industry that it's disgusting.
Dead, locked up, or they out here hopeless.
Poisoned by the deadly drug fentanyl,
and it completely
killing 7 in the Central West End.
Completely
the
fucks these
people. That's killing people comes from China.
That's enough fentanyl to give every member.
And you know what? That's a good point he brought up. It comes from China. And the thing is that, so if you think about war, if you think about how war used to be, how war, even is right now, but war used to be fought by soldiers on the ground. You had to like physically go in, take over the country, and that's how you won a war, and that's how you took over the country. Now, it is as though we, as the United States, have not evolved to what war actually is. War is just simply, if you can just simply destroy a country, divide a country, go in and buy all the land like China has done, then you don't even need to fight a war. Like, there's no fucking point. Because if you could buy 60%, it's like a stock. If I can buy 60% of Germany, then guess what? What are you talking about? I own you. I own 60% of the land. I own the whole fucking thing. You didn't even fucking see this coming. And here I am, owning 60% of your country. I mean, it's genius. It's fucking brilliant. Like, you go in, you buy all the land, you buy all these buildings, you buy all the houses, and then you are in charge. Even though you're China, you're in charge of 60% of America. I mean, like, what the hell? I mean, and then you got half of these politicians in your back pocket, and so it's like, it's a fucking duh.
Of the United States population, a potentially lethal dose.
It's a formidable enemy.
Scoring the drugs on social media.
And life just instant.
And see, that's the thing, is like, so I grew up, man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to be pausing this so much. It's an 50-minute long fucking documentary, and I don't want to pause it this much, but it is necessary. But like, back when I grew up, you didn't have to worry about, not as much. You didn't have to worry that, hey, not like I ever did coke, but had I ever done it, I know I wouldn't have to worry about one little grain the size of a speck of fucking salt being in there that's fentanyl and dying.
They began to spiral out of control.
It could kill you immediately.
I've never seen a drug threat as prevalent and as dangerous as we're seeing right now with them.
And now on every corner, everybody's selling fentanyl. Everybody.
It happened to my family, and I never thought it would.
We're saying this is a real life and death situation.
Had we really wanted to go out and save lives, we could have done so.
We lost a child, you know. Nobody should have to do that.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's my take on it so far. Is that a lot of these, I'm trying to be gentle. At the same time, I'm trying to be as realistic and as brutal as life would be. A lot of this is the parents' fault. However, it is kind of a unique situation because these parents were in between the time frame of when fentanyl was coming about. Because if you don't know about it, I didn't know about fentanyl 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, like, maybe I'm stupid and naive, but I didn't know about any of that shit. I was like, hey, don't OD on coke. Duh. But it's weird because, like, you can warn your kids about all of these things. You can warn them about marijuana. You can warn them about heroin. You can warn them about coke. You can warn them about, ecstasy and all these other drugs. But nobody foresaw fentanyl. Nobody saw that coming. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's this one thing. There's not like some public broadcasting announcement, PBA, out there that's like, oh, just so all you parents know, there's this drug called fentanyl out there, and if whoever's making the drugs or mixing them or whatever the hell they're doing, if they mess it up just a little bit, your kid will die. I feel like that is kind of where I don't know if I could say we've failed as a society, but I definitely don't blame the parents because at a certain age, the children are on their own. Hey, I have tried to guide you as well as I possibly could have. And so if you fuck up from here on out, it is no longer my responsibility. But the thing is that you have to really be trying to guide them and not just like, oh, you can't do weed, don't do cocaine, don't do fucking, heroin. The what you need to do is they have to have critical thinking because shit like this is going to pop up that you aren't even aware of. And if they don't have any critical thinking skills, then they're fucked. That is why it's so important to allow children when they're younger to do what they do, allow them to fuck up, and then let them reevaluate what went wrong. And we're not even talking about major things. Because if you cannot critically think about why should I not put a bowl right side up in the dishwasher when I do the dishes, and then you open the dishwasher and it's full of water and now you got to wash it again because there's all kinds of shit in it. If you cannot get them to figure that out, then may God have mercy on their souls whenever they get older. Because if they can't sit there and go, a lot of my friends have been like getting really, really fucked up on these things. Like maybe I should like not do it. Maybe I need to evaluate a little bit. So we need to, as parents, focus more. And this isn't supposed to be some parenting fucking podcast session. That's not the point. It's more about the whole epidemic of fentanyl. Like we as a society are missing something. Because how are we letting this happen to our people? It is literally a war that China doesn't even have to fucking fight. They just go, just give this to them. They overindulge. They overindulge. I mean, we see memes about them eating hamburgers and all this other bullshit. So we know that I've heard fucking stories of people that are on the way to work. They have their briefcase and they're dressed in a suit. And they're like, and somebody's like, hey, you want a little hit of this? And they're like, yeah, sure. I'm in a good mood today. Boom. Next thing you know, that motherfucker never shows up to work, loses his job, and loses everything. Just from that one incident. It's crazy. Don't even fucking entertain that shit.
Every year it gets not just worse, but exponentially worse. And St. Louis has been hit particularly hard.
Fentanyl is the defining drug of the overdose epidemic in St. Louis. It has no taste or smell. Even a handful of it could kill thousands of people. It reaches into every corner of society.
This motherfucker said a handful. Bro, you get a handful. Dude, my God. Okay, that was stupid. That was stupid what he just said. Because if you get pulled over, if they think you're smuggling some fucking fentanyl in the airport, I watch these airport things where they're like, they start, questioning, why are you bringing all these like little Chinese tchotchkes over here? And then they find out there's a bunch of bags with powder in them, white powder. These motherfuckers bag up as though that's a plague. Because if you take one fucking sniff of that shit, your ass is on the ground twitching.
Society, suburbs and cities, rich and poor, black and white. Many who become addicted have no idea they're even taking it. And it's caused drug addiction in the region to spiral out of control.
Of course.
More than 70% of overdose deaths in the St. Louis area now involve fentanyl.
I might see a person 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes they dead because they took something that they had no idea what they was taking.
In 2019, more than 70,000 people died of a drug overdose in the United States. For perspective, imagine there was a Cardinals and Blues game on the same night and both venues were sold out. If every person in attendance died, it would be about 6,000 shy of that statistic.
Damn.
Now fast forward 2 years to 2021, and overdose deaths reached more than 107,000, the most in U.S. history.
That's the thing, man. Like, you have to be vigilant. There will be people in your life that will suffer from things like this, and they will try like hell to get you to suffer with them. And you have to go, fuck no. I remember one time I was at one of my buddy's apartments, and I was laying on a love sack watching TV all peacefully, and one of my friends had a roommate who did ice, and I was not into that life. I was not. I will never be. That ain't some shit for me, okay? And then it was like his roommate, and I don't even know where these other motherfuckers came from. But I was laying on the love sack, watching TV, just minding my own business. And then it's like, all of a sudden I look up and there's 6 motherfuckers surrounding me trying to get me to do ice. And they're like, come on, just take one hit. And I'm like, no, never gonna I will never do it. And the one roommate that knew me, he's telling them, he's like, no, he's serious. He's never, there's nothing you can do to get him to take that. And it's true. Because, I mean, like, you don't want to know what it feels like. That's the whole thing. The best defense is to not even know.
Fentanyl is alarming. It should be alarming. It is killing people like that.
In Missouri, overdose deaths have risen drastically.
These fools end up
Our area
dead as
is
hell.
the epicenter of that statewide tragedy. St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jefferson, and Franklin counties have 4 of the 5 highest overdose death rates in Missouri.
This is North St. Louis. This place has been suffering from a thing called benign neglect. You ever heard the term benign neglect? What it simply means is if something goes wrong, I just let it. I allow it to go wrong.
We spent months looking into the local crisis. This story is told by recovering addicts.
You become more dependent and reliant on this one specific thing just to get out of bed and say hi to your family.
It wasn't tough, it was miserable. It was just horrible, man.
Those fighting for change.
Will always be a thorn in your side, pushing for what actually needs to happen.
And those left behind.
It can happen to anyone. Because...
And see, this is what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, like, you know, there's these parents that have, like, you know, there's this underground drug that they literally have no idea even exists. Because she probably is like, you know, coke was the craziest fucking thing I ever heard of. You know, we were smoking weed and that was wild. But then all of a sudden some drug that comes out and it's like, oh yeah, well if there's 1 grain of salt worth of it, then you get a good high. If there's 2, you're dead. And I mean, like, I don't know all the sign. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm saying, like, hey, just think about it like that. You got some fucking dude in his kitchen in his apartment fucking around with all this shit, and you're trusting him. So, you kiddos, you need to think about this shit, and you need to be thinking critically, not just, oh, well, you know, they said I couldn't do weed. They said I couldn't do coke. Well, okay. You know, if you don't think critically, then, you know, you may die. And that fucking sucks.
It happened to my family, and I never thought it would.
From News 4,
I mean,
I'm
that
Matt
chick
Woods,
looks like
and this
the most church-going woman I've seen in a long time.
In St. Louis.
When I look back, I think there was a lot of depression that he may have had, and he always hid everything. Like, he always wanted to be happy around his family and stuff. Never wanted anyone to see him sad or upset about anything. Easygoing, laid back,
look at that.
soft-spoken. Everyone says he had an infectious smile and a really sweet person. Everyone wanted to be his friend.
Robbie was an avid skateboarder, and other kids looked up to him because of it.
Such a shame, man.
If you would ask him about stuff, he would say, oh, I'm good, everything's good, everything's fine, everything's good, Mom. That's what he said all the time. So, I really expected him to say that when we walked into the hospital. But we didn't get that second chance.
And see, you have to be, like, as a parent, you can't just be, you know, oh yeah, my kid's out somewhere. Like, you gotta know what the hell is going on, because there are different communities. Like, if he told me, oh yeah, I'm doing skateboarding and shit like this, it's like, dude, I know what kind of dudes do skateboarding, and I would push the subject of, like, hey man, you know, you might get tried to do not do it. You might get somebody might try to pressure you into some shit. Don't do it. It's not like he was saying, oh yeah, I signed up for the orchestra and I'm doing band. It's like somebody saying like, yeah, I started a rock band and we're playing clubs now. You better fucking prelude. You better prelude. You better preload. Yeah. You better preload them with the defenses that they're going to need for that situation. Otherwise, they're going to get fucked.
It goes back from me being an only child, no brothers, no sisters, a lot of cousins. You know, so I looked up to cousins. So whatever they was into, I was into it. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. When I got 15, it was like, okay, I was at that age to where, you know, I can jumping off the porch. So they was like, okay, here. It was basically just here. Try this.
That's what they do. They give it to you for free.
Older, they was like least like
they know once you get it for free.
25.
I
was the youngest. Yeah, I was the youngest out of the whole crew. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just watching. That's how it happens, man.
And see, that's the thing is like he says, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know nothing. No parent talked to him. No parent said, look, man, there are some people out there that are going to try to give you something for free. And they're going to be like, oh, it'll make you feel so good. It'll make you feel so good. It will completely destroy your life if you take that. Imagine if once you took that thing, you lost everything. Your family, your house, where you live. Imagine that moment whenever somebody offers you any kind of substance. Imagine that. And if your answer is, I don't care if I lose my family, my house, my, everything that I know and that I love, then if you don't care about that, then go ahead and take it. But if you do care, then you'll be like, nope, not even, no way in hell. And the next thing I would do is never see those motherfuckers again.
These weren't like regular friends. These was actually family members. And every day from that day, it was constantly just doing it. Because one thing about the drug,
because family members, man, they will fucking do whatever they got to do to get that shit. It doesn't, they'll steal from your ass. That's like crack cocaine 2.0.
Doing this drug every day, your body's getting immune, so you gotta have it.
She was just everything. I mean, she had a kind heart. She loved life. She loved people. She wanted to help people.
I knew this guy. I wasn't friends with him. But he told me, he goes, and this is the thing with parents that have daughters, you need to pay attention to what I'm about to say. Because this is something I heard from somebody else who is an acquaintance of mine. He goes, the best way to get a hot girlfriend is to give her drugs. Then she's yours. That's real. There are people out there that exist with that mindset. So if you are not preparing your daughter for a world where men exist like that, then you are failing.
People, she loved her friends and her family. I know I was her favorite. She was my everything, and she would always call me and want to know how I'm doing, what I'm doing, are you okay, Mom, and stuff like that. So I know she loved me very much.
Patty's daughter, Jessica, struggled with addiction for more than a decade. Patty fought for years to get back the daughter she recognized.
The first year.
And once the thing is, you can't, and see, it's so complicated because parents want to be best friends with their children. They want to be best friends with their kids. And especially if it's a single mother, I mean, you have to be so diverse that it's almost impossible, because women typically are the more nurturing, the more giving, the more forgiving, and the ones that the children get the softer side from the parents. And if there is no father involved, then there's no discipline. There's no discipline. It's just do whatever you want, whatever. There's no consequences. And that is, I would bet that she was a single mother. I don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. I might be wrong. Write it down in the comments. Leave me all kinds of hate messages. So that's fine. But usually, if there is a father involved, it never gets to this point, because the thing is, you have to establish the respect. You have to establish the fact that I do know more than you know when it comes to life. And so, but the thing is, it takes time for you, because you have to prove that to that little person. You can't just be like, I know more than you, and that's just the way it is. Sorry, tough luck. I mean, you do say that, but it's through you saying that and then them experiencing and letting them fail. Like, you see your son up there on a retaining wall grabbing a rope, and there's a lot of slack in it, and you go, hey man, I know you're about to jump off that wall and you got that rope. There's a lot of slack in it. So you have to think about, when you jump off that wall, all that slack is all of a sudden going to become taut. And you are going to literally have to catch yourself in a free fall. Do you think you can do that? And as long as they're not high enough to where they're going to obviously kill themselves, you let them fail. You let them go. If they're like, yeah, I could do it. All right. And then you let them fail. They fall down and they fall in the leaves and they're like, woo, okay, yeah, that didn't work out quite like I thought. And I go, yeah, it didn't, did it? And I could see that. I could see that it wasn't going to. And they slowly start to actually begin to trust what you're saying from an early age. Because if you don't do this early on, by the time they become 17 and 18, you're totally fucked. Okay? You have absolutely no fucking control, and you have no respect from them, because everything you say doesn't matter, because they have never suffered the consequences of you saying something and then them suffering the consequences. Like having fucking chores. You need to have chores. And you give them autonomy. You go, hey, you can do this, or you can wait till later. It's up to you. But I'm just letting you know, these are the consequences if it doesn't get done. And then when the consequences come, I don't want you to be like, what? It's like, you knew they were there, so just accept it and let's move on. Let's just get it done.
Years weren't so bad. I mean, I knew she was doing stuff. I, would get on her. I don't know what you're doing, but you.
See, she's like, I don't know what you're doing, but no. I need to know what the fuck you're doing. Because the thing is, if you start off by being like, oh, I don't know what you're doing, and you're just like that for one day, it's kind of like calling somebody the wrong name for 6 months. It's going to be a whole lot more weird if after 6 months you're like, yeah, I found out your name wasn't actually that. It's this. You're like, I don't know. You can't just all of a sudden be like impeding on their life. It's like, you haven't been here this whole fucking time. Now all of a sudden you want to get all up in my business. No, I want to know what's going on. I want to talk to you. It's important that I know what's going on in your life, man.
As it got worse, I mean, I wouldn't know.
But I don't want to. I'm not bashing her, because I mean, this whole fentanyl thing, that shit is crazy. Because there is a time when you just got to give kids autonomy, and you got to go, man, I'm going to be stressed the hell out, but I got to let them, I have tried my best to provide the guardrails. I have tried my best to provide the guardrails that will lead you to success. Whether or not you decide to stay within those guardrails is, at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's not up to me.
Where she was, it's a nightmare. There's so many times I lay in bed and wonder where she is, and you expect a phone call, because she did overdose quite a few times, and I get a call.
See, like, if my kid had overdosed a couple times, we reeling this in real quick. We reeling it in. You ain't going nowhere. Like, there's a couple times when and it's so weird how nonchalant she mentions that. Because it's like, if my kid went out and was like, and it's like, if I can say, yeah, my kid overdosed a couple of times before she finally died. Like, something is wrong with the parent. I mean, I'm just calling it how it is. Because one overdose, look, we regulating. Harsh, swift, harsh regulation. You ain't going nowhere. Man, that's crazy, dude. Like, can you imagine the fact that your kid had overdosed a couple of times, and it's like, well, the third time was that was it. That's when they died. I mean, I can see where the issue would come when they turn 18 and they're like, I can do what I want. And that is why it is so important to establish your relationship and the respect that your child has for you and what you say so much. Like, it's so important to establish the respect that they have for you and what you say when they are younger. It is imperative, because by the time they turn 18, they will do one of two things. They will listen to you and they'll go, you know what? I think you're right. I think I should stay away from that group of people. Or they will go fuck yourself. I mean, that's the way it's. Those are the two options. And so you have to decide as a parent, do I want to be a little bitch and let my child boss me around, or am I going to guide them? Because so many parents try to be friends with their kids. And you know what friends do later on in life? Get them involved in drugs and fucking get them killed by fucking doing fentanyl and dumbass shit. What you should focus on first is becoming a parent. A friend is a byproduct. It is not the actual product. And that's why it's much more difficult for a single mom. I mean, like a single dad, I think they would just be hard as hell on the kid. So, you know, then it just turns into a whole nother slew of problems. But it's like your first goal is to be a guiding light and guardrails. I am your guiding light and guardrails. A friend is a byproduct of that. A friend is a byproduct. It's not the actual, like, goal. My goal is not to become your friend. My goal is to keep you from killing yourself and to make sure that you grow up to become a valuable member of society. And there are a lot of parents that are so fucking scared of doing that. Like, they'll hate me. They won't like me. They're going to love you no matter what. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. You're being dumb, bro. Shit. They're not going to like me. Oh, God. Oh. Okay. But you know what else? They ain't going to fucking listen to you. So what are they going to do? Go off and kill themselves. So you got to fucking put it in your brain. What matters? Does the way you feel matter more than your child going off and killing themselves in 10 years after you fucking raised them? Because they haven't had to do any critical thinking. They haven't had any chores. They haven't had to figure shit out at all in life. So they're just like a robot wandering around, just taking in substances from whoever the fuck wants to give them to them.
Every 7 minutes and 22 seconds, someone dies of a fentanyl overdose in the U.S. That means someone died since you started watching this video.
There was one particular time over here at Festus Hospital, I got a call and I went over there and somebody had dropped her off in the parking lot and stuck a needle in her breast of all places. But I think they did that so they would know what she was there for. One of the nurses just frankly told her, you know what, we about bagged you. She was out of it. She was basically almost dead that time.
Addiction is so much more difficult to treat than, say, infections or other conditions. Because this is one disorder that throws a patient into a survival mode. And survival is the worst thing that can happen to a human being in a survival mode. And I describe that as a form of internal homelessness. They have, they're not literally on the street, but that.
Let me tell you something right now. This guy, he looks like he's Indian. He sounds like he's Indian. Indian motherfuckers are some of the smartest motherfuckers out there. Seriously. Like, they know shit. And it's not, like, they know shit. Like, whenever somebody like this guy tells me something, I go, I should really seriously consider that and think about that.
Disorder has made them do things that only a person in a survival mode would do.
So I fell into addiction early in life. I came from a broken home. Parents were divorced, got separated. My father was an abusive alcoholic. After my parents split, I started getting emotional abuse from my mom, and I kind of fell into addiction early on, about 11, 12 years old, smoking weed real heavily, drinking alcohol. At the age of 14, I was shooting cocaine. I just kept moving from one drug to the other.
This motherfucker's doing
the first time I
cocaine
ever
at 14?
used heroin, I actually overdosed the very first time and was left for dead in an abandoned house.
And see, that's the thing is, man, these motherfuckers that do drugs, they don't give a shit about you. They will dip so quick. They'll be like, oh shit, he's foaming from the mouth. We're out.
That's probably whenever I was 18, 19 years old. From that moment, I told myself, for one, I would never use a needle again, and I would never use heroin again. But eventually I did. So even that first time of a horrible experience did not keep me from getting high again.
And most of the time, the drugs are not the problem for an individual. They're the current solution to different problems: trauma, adverse childhood experiences, non-medicated, non-treated mental health disorders. Lots of things go into why somebody has problematic use. And rarely is it ever, they just like getting high.
After she had passed, I got some of her journals, and reading them, it's just heartbreaking what she went through. She was raped a couple times.
And see, she was, I want to be sensitive about this, right? Because this obviously is a very sensitive subject, but you have to stay close to your children. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I haven't even exchanged a conversation with them in like a week. You got to have those moments of like, it's just you and me, and we're just talking. Tell me what's going on in your life. I need to know. Not like I need to know, like I'm interrogating. It's like, I want to know what's your world like? What is your world like? What's going on? Tell me about the drama. There's got to be some kind of drama. There was always drama when I was a kid. I mean, like, you know, she was probably busy fucking working or something. And, you know, she never had these kinds of conversations where her daughter felt like she could open up and be like, okay, here's what's really fucking going on. That's part of the problem. And see, that's part of the problem with the nuclear family being separated, is that there's neither of the parents are there to actually have these conversations with their kids. They're too busy. They got this, they got that going on. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And it's like none of the parents actually know what their kids are going through. And that's heartbreaking. Like, to be thinking back and going, wow, you know, like she's saying, oh, she was writing down in her journal that she was raped she was writing down in her journal that she was, you know, R-worded a couple times. And it's, you have no idea about this? And I mean, I understand there's some things that kids want to keep from their parents, but that should be something that that a child should feel 110% comfortable bringing up to their parents. And when you don't have the nuclear family, you just have the mom. The daughter is like, well, what is she gonna do? You know? But I guarantee you, if there was a dad who was a dad, she would be like, you know what? I'm telling my dad. Because you know what? He's going to go fuck some shit up. I don't even want to think about what I would do.
Was dumped on the side of the street. She was.
But the fact is, you know, my kids know that.
Left in hospitals, and it was horrible.
Justin started committing crimes to provide for his addiction and ended up in court supervision.
My most recent charge, I didn't go to prison for, and it was for second-degree burglary. I was actively in my addiction, and I was actually at a drug dealer's house and burglarized the people that lived above the dealer. And it turned out to be a pastor at a church. And that pastor showed mercy in the courtroom, which is why I didn't go to prison. I got probation.
Justin eventually lost custody of his son because of his addiction and criminal history.
Because even though he was taken, it still didn't stop me from using. I still seeked out methamphetamine and fentanyl to mask my pain.
I used to argue with her because I get so mad at her, you know, you do have a choice and you're choosing this. You can stop anytime you want to. You don't have to do this. And if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have been that way.
No.
Because I don't think that.
No, you would have been like, fuck no. Because what she just said right there is, it is obvious as shit that there was no man involved, because a man would have gone, no, I'm not giving you a fucking choice. You have no fucking choice. You are staying, your ass is staying here, and you staying in the goddamn room. You locked up. That's just what it is. And we are going to vet every motherfucker that you go out with. And, like, dude, it's just so, oh my God. Because, you know what? I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Women are weak when it comes to this kind of shit. They just are. They can't just... But I mean, that's why the dynamic of the family unit is so fucking important. It is unbelievable. And whenever you do not have that dynamic of the soft and the hard, because like my wife is soft, I'm hard, but together we create. It is so stupid because it's like the yin and the yang. When they come together, that's exactly how it should be. But whenever you're missing one of those parts, it's fucked. Everything is fucked. If you just have the dad, it's fucked. Because he's going to be too hard. He's going to be too strict. But if you just have the wife, it's just going to be too lax. Next thing you know, he's going to get a girl pregnant. Next thing you know, it just gets crazy. And that's exactly why she's saying what she's saying. Because she's like, I wasn't being strict enough. I wasn't being strict enough. Because the reason why she wasn't being strict enough is because she's a woman. And that is how women operate. They're nurturers by nature. They're not meant to be men, to lay down the law, to come in and go, hey, look, fuck no, done. We are no longer doing this shit and it's over. I mean, if you just take it back to like trying to get a child to go to bed. I will be in the studio and my wife will be trying to get our children to go to bed. Guess what? 8 o'clock is bedtime. 10 o'clock, kids still out wandering around. And I'm like, what is going on? How is this happening right now? You're an adult, and it seems like they have control. But once I walk out there, everybody's like, I'm going to bed. And they all go to bed. Because that's just how the dynamic works. And you have to, if you don't have both of those, you as one individual person have to be able to flip-flop on a dime to be the other person who should be who would be in the relationship. So you have to be this soft nurturing person, but then you have to flip and then be strict as shit. And then I don't know. Then you might end up with kids who think you're bipolar or something. I don't know.
They really have a choice. I think they fight for their life every day.
And the people who do end up facing substance use disorders, it doesn't mean that they're bad or that they came from like a bad family or that they have some sort of character flaw. It's that they didn't have perhaps the coping skills to be able to deal with the inevitable pain that life brings. Because let's face it.
Yeah. She's exactly right. Because life will bring you to your motherfucking knees. And if you are listening to this and you do not believe me, you have yet to experience life. And so, little things like, and you can even let your children make their own decisions. That's good. That's healthy. Because then it's like, well, it's not my decision. You made the decision. You can do the dishes now and finish them. Or tomorrow we're going to wake up and we're going to do yard work for an hour. And then you're going to do the dishes anyways. And there's most likely going to be more dishes in there. So you decide on what you want to do. And if they, like there was one time, one of our children, I forget. Let's see. Hold on. One of our children stole her cell phone from where it was. One of our children stole their cell phone from the spot where I had put it. And it was blatantly obvious to me that they had taken it without, asking to use it or anything like that. We don't believe in cell phones here for kids. But when I found out that cell phone was taken, I was like, oh man, I have to punish you. I have to. And did I want to? No, I didn't want to. But I go, you are going to be doing yard work for an hour tomorrow. And it was like 98 degrees. I go get your water bottle, fill it up with a lot of ice, fill it up with water, because we're going to be out there for a hot minute. And it had been about 30 minutes or 45 minutes or something like that. And I go, and they were like, I don't want to be out here anymore. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be out here. And I go, okay, that's fine. So I will give you an option. you can leave. You can go inside right now. Right now. Instantly. But no electronics for 2 weeks. And that's what they decided to do. Took the TV out of the room. No electronics for 2 weeks, straight up. Put it on top of the stairs so they could see it when they walked in the door. Be reminded of the consequences of their actions. And I don't know, maybe some people would be like, well, that's cruel. No, it's not cruel. It's not cruel to take away television from a freaking kid. What are you, dumb? It's not cruel to take away a phone from a kid. When I was a kid, we used to play with sticks and stones and shit. And you know what's funny? Is that whenever you do something like that, whenever you take away all these fucking dumbass distractions, kids start to be creative. They start to draw. They start to use their brain and like do creative shit. Make crafts and stuff like that. There's nothing fucking wrong with that. I know how to play 2 instruments. Like not just like, oh, I can play like Jimmy John down the fucking road. Like I can really fucking play piano and guitar. Like you could drop me in a band and I would be able to fucking play. And the thing is that I would never know how to do that had I had never been bored. Parents so much now are just infatuated with not letting their kids be bored. And you know what? Being bored is where you grow. So parents are doing their kids a huge disservice, in my opinion. Put a fucking ukulele there and then tell them they can't do nothing. What are they going to do? They're going to pick up the goddamn ukulele and start fucking with it. That's all you got to do. And then next thing you know, they're going to be like asking you, hey, I was really curious. How do I play this one ukulele song that I've heard on the radio? I mean, it's either that or they're watching fucking YouTube videos talking about a bunch of bullshit. It's literal psyops from China, because it literally does nothing for them. They're sitting there watching goddamn YouTube videos, YouTube shorts, going just like vegging on the couch. Yeah, I am a zombie. It's like so fucking stupid. Say no fucking TV. And it's like so many parents are like, I can't turn the TV off for them. It's like, no, you can. You could take the remote and you can turn it off, and then you can fucking take the remote with you. And all of a sudden, they can't watch TV. It's so fucking... Parents are such pussies. The pussification of children. The pussification of adults and parents. That's what it is. The pussification of parents.
Life is hard. It is hard.
She went to jail and she stayed in there for almost 2 months. I would send her money for cigarettes, whatever.
Yup. Wouldn't have sent her a dime. I would send her money for cigarettes. No, you ain't getting shit. You in there? You in there. Remember this shit.
I'd go visit her, and she hated it there. Told me how horrible they were to her and stuff. But again, I was thinking, well, at least I know where you're at. You're safe.
But see, she's thinking about it from a selfish perspective. Well, at least I know where you're at. Rather than like, This is how this girl grew up. Exactly with this mindset of this mom. I have to judge her. Because it's that mindset. It's that selfish fucking mindset that actually put her daughter in that fucking position. Rather than being like, you know, it's going to be a real bitch for me to make sure that, you know, you have responsibilities, you have things to do, and I gotta check them. I gotta make sure you do them. She was an absentee mother.
I finally got her out, and she spent the night that night, and
She finally got her out. That right there is the failure. That is the point of failure right there. You know, like when you take a piece of metal, right? Like, let's say you take a tin can, a snippet of a tin can, and you bend it, and you bend it, and you bend it over and over and over again. And you know that one point, that last bend that you make, it just snaps in half. That right there was the point of failure. By the time I finally got her out, no, you shouldn't have gotten her out. If your kids go to jail, go to prison, whatever it is, you in here because of you. And you got to pay the consequences. Because I guarantee you that mom, you can see right there, there's no dad. That mom never made her pay any fucking consequences. Had she understood there were consequences for her actions, guess what? That shit would have never fucking happened.
my granddaughter was here, and we had so much fun because she had been clean that whole time she was in jail. And it was like the old Jessica, you know?
And I feel bad for bashing this mom. I do, but I don't. I do because as parents, we don't really know what the fuck we're doing, especially with our first kids. But I mean, to me, for me, like me, I go, it makes perfect sense. Why would you just let them get away with fucking everything? Because what are you teaching them throughout life? You're teaching them they can get away with fucking everything.
I kind of look at that as God giving me one last day with her. I mean, because she was just so much her old self.
And it sucks, man.
When she went to...
It fucking sucks. This shit sucks, but you know what? Life doesn't give a fuck. At the end of the day, life doesn't give a fuck. Life does not give two shits.
Excuse me. 1 minute.
The biggest challenge we have in treatment is they do well for a period of time. They may go to a residential program. They may be in jail or prison. When they come out, back to their natural environment, nothing has changed, and the relapse rates are just unacceptably high.
Patty was supposed to pick Jessica up the morning Patty's grandson was getting baptized. Patty texted Jessica, but she didn't respond. At the time, Jessica had been sober for 6 months.
I called her phone, and some guy answered, and he told me that that Jessica spent the night and that he woke up that morning and she was unresponsive on the floor. And he
just
called an
randomly.
ambulance. He didn't know where the ambulance took her.
I don't know why she wasn't responding.
I called a couple hospitals, and then I finally got a doctor Well, when I called and they said, yes, she's here, and they said, hold on, the doctor wants to talk to you. When she said that, I knew it was bad, because doctors don't usually get on the phone to talk to you. Once I got to the hospital and I kind of told them about her history, then they ran more labs and stuff, and then they found out it was fentanyl.
His death certificate was fentanyl intoxication.
At the time, did you even know what fentanyl was?
No. I knew that my mom's friend...
And see, that's where the complication comes in. And that's why it is so fucking valuable to teach our children to think critically. Because we cannot always be the ones that are there in the fucking... we can't be like right there by them and be like, oh yeah. No, we just have to teach them to think critically.
Had cancer, and she had a fentanyl patch, but that's the only time I'd ever heard of fentanyl.
Robbie died in 2017 at 31 years old. He was one of 951 people to overdose on an opioid and die in Missouri that year. Jessica died in 2018 when she was 32. She was one of 1,132 people to die of an opioid overdose in Missouri that year. By 2020, synthetic opioid overdoses became the leading cause of death for Americans ages 18 to 45, passing car crashes and shootings. Fentanyl has been the driver behind the rising fatality rate.
Then finding out it was laced with fentanyl, I don't think she ever would have, I don't think she knew that. I don't think she would have done that.
And I was wondering...
She would have done it anyways. Let's all be real. She would have done it anyways. It's not like she knew what the fuck it was. It's not like, oh, that's got fentanyl in it? It's like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do that. The thing is that it's not like somebody was going to come to her and be like, hey, just so you know, there's fentanyl in this. It might kill you. No, they're going to come to her and go, dude, this has got fentanyl in it. And it gets you more fucked up. Like, it's not like, if you don't know about it, she probably don't know what it is either. It's like, oh my God, dude, kid. let's be honest, kids and parents are dumb as shit.
Why he would have any kind of fentanyl, to take his life. Like, I didn't know where he got it or how he, because I knew it was a patch. I didn't know anything else about it.
Yeah, but you can't assume that you're gonna know every fucking drug. That's why you have to teach them critical thinking, because you won't know 90% of the shit they're doing.
Friend who died from fentanyl back in 2010, back when most people had never even heard of fentanyl. His name was Michael Schaefermeyer. He was from St. Louis. He was a DJ, and he had the prescription patches, but he was abusing them and died from an overdose combined with alcohol. Fentanyl is an important hospital drug, and it's used by people in everything from childbirth to colonoscopies, and so it has a legitimate use. The illicit fentanyl, the kind that's killing people, almost all of it comes from China. Fentanyl is made in China for the same.
See, I did not pre-watch this. This is a fucking war on America. And they don't even have to fucking fight a war. They just got to get fucking fentanyl over here.
Same reason so many other things are made in China. It's made, very cheaply over there.
Ben Westhoff is an investigative journalist and St. Louis resident. He published a book in 2019 called Fentanyl Inc., How Rogue Chemists Are Creating the Deadliest Wave of the Opioid Epidemic. Westhoff eventually realized during his investigation that to tell the full scope of the American fentanyl crisis, he needed to travel to China.
Most people in China have never even heard of fentanyl, and that includes a lot of people selling it.
Yeah, that's because they don't let fuckers in China get a hold of that shit. Because they're like, dude, this shit is it's gonna fuck our country up.
I just Googled buy drugs in China, and I got all these websites from these companies that were just sort of blatantly selling it, and they had email addresses and phone numbers for the salespeople, and so I just got in contact with them, and I pretended to be a drug dealer, and I said if I was going to come to China, could I see their lab? And some of the people responded that I could, and I was shocked to find this giant company with hundreds of young salespeople sitting at desktop computers. Yep. They all spoke great English. They were basically selling ingredients for fentanyl to Western customers, and it looked just like any other company. What I found out later was that the Chinese government actually subsidizes some of these companies. And
I did not pre-watch this. I swear to God, I did not pre-watch this. I just called it how I fucking saw it. I called it how I saw it. It makes sense. It makes fucking sense. How do you destroy a fucking country without actually sending boots on the ground? You just fucking let them destroy themselves. That's it.
Promotes the work that they do. These people have like retirement plans and health plans. It was considered a really good job, except they were selling the most dangerous drug in the world.
Police announced they took down a major drug distribution network.
That's enough fentanyl to kill 250,000 people.
800,000 counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl.
The ingredients to make fentanyl are being mass-produced in China. From there, it's sent to Mexico, where fentanyl is made in illicit laboratories. Then it's smuggled over the border and spread into communities like St. Louis.
Our records indicate, based on our seizures, that 4 out of every 10 pills that DEA seizes contains a lethal dose of fentanyl, which is only 2 milligrams.
Damn. Look at that. Look at that. That's a lethal dose of fentanyl. Right there. I gotta find a penny. Jesus Christ. Literally. Couple extra grains of salt.
It is so lethal that the amount in this bag is enough to kill 5 non-tolerant people.
It's so small, you can hide, 1 million doses in a fake panel in a car.
It's being delivered right to people's doorsteps, which is a huge problem. And sometimes they're able to order this.
And see, man, I'm telling you, China is fucking smart as fuck, bro. Because they go, we have this substance that we can make about as thin of a piece of paper, and we can just put it in the, back of a chair, and that's enough doses for, that's enough to fuck up, 1,000 people. And it's like, nobody's gonna fucking see that shit.
Through social media apps or encrypted phone applications, which obviously makes it very dangerous because all of us have access to smartphones. Children, my son has access to a smartphone.
Just how easy, you got
That's why you don't let your kids have phones.
Literally, all I had to do was walk up to a gas station and...
All you gotta do, this guy's saying all you gotta do, but I'm saying all you gotta do is go, hey, you can't have a phone until you earn enough money to buy a phone and pay for the plan. It's not my fault. Like, when you were born, you weren't born with some fucking right to have a fucking phone. So, you gotta earn it. That right there is the number one fucking problem of all these fucking parents giving these kids phones at fucking 6, 7 years old. Are you fucking crazy? Have you lost your fucking mind? Unfettered fucking access to the fucking internet. As a 7-year-old, you must be stupid. And I do not I will never agree with that. I'm sorry. Unfettered access for like a 6, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 10 years old. If you are not responsible enough to buy your own phone and pay the bill, then guess what? You don't need a phone.
Ask somebody and people would approach you. Like I've had a dealer just walk up and stick it in my pocket after I told him no on an occasion.
It's that easy.
It's that easy.
Problem is that even the local drug dealers, by the time it gets all the way to them, they don't even know what are in these drugs. They might be cutting it further, but they don't know how powerful it is.
Fentanyl is dangerous. It is killing Americans at record rates, and it's going to continue to do that until we get a grasp of this situation.
Way too many that are beginning their addiction through the pen and pad of a doctor.
Oh shit, here we go.
It's not an urban myth that people turn to heroin and fentanyl when they run out of prescription drugs. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people had been started on these medications for chronic pain, and some of them might need to be on these chronic opioids for the rest of their life because it's just so hard to get off of them.
Got into a car with a buddy. We were going to a gas station that sold to underage kids for cigarettes. My buddy was speeding and hit some railroad tracks, tried to make a right turn, lost control, and went head on into a tree. And I was riding front passenger without my seatbelt on and hit the windshield and lost a good portion of my forehead to it. I was 15 and I had never done drugs a day in my life. And I was instantly put on 10 milligram Percocets.
This is where shit gets real fucked up. Because these kinds of drugs, opioids and shit like that, should be the absolute last fucking resort.
Which is something that you should gradually work up to.
First time I got shot with a .357 hollow point and I got shot in the back and it blew my stomach open. The bullet hit my pancreas, large intestine, small intestine, and I lost a kidney. I done had 2 surgeries, and they say I'll be in pain for the rest of my life, so I'm taking pain pills, you know, prescribed by the doctor. You know, that's basically how it started.
I was taught when I was a medical student that if somebody has pain, they're not going to get addicted to a substance and to an opioid, okay?
And that's exactly what Pfizer and all those motherfuckers want you to think.
I was taught that. Now that seems like foolishness, right?
Dr. Fred Rotnick is...
These motherfuckers at Pfizer knew. They knew what the fuck they were doing. There's a reason why these fools are worth like billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Because in a world where people actually care about people, they wouldn't do this. They just wouldn't. But in our society nowadays, the most brutal, vicious individuals that are willing to cut throats are the ones that will win. People say we don't, like some people think we don't have they're like, oh, a Marxist society. In a Marxist society, you know that the most brutal win. We are already there.
The medical director at the Assisted Recovery Centers of America. Before that, he spent 15 years as the medical director at the St. Louis County Jail and Juvenile Detention Center.
The drug companies, yeah, they did their marketing and pushing and selling
they did.
Of opioids that were never typically used in outpatient settings. However, physicians also, we didn't do our homework as a profession, and we fell for it.
More than 263,000 Americans died from an overdose involving a prescription opioid from 1999 through 2020.
Our job was to write out the Percocet or the oxycodone or the hydrocodone for, John Doe. 1 to 2 tabs every 4 to 6 hours is needed for pain. 120 tabs, 160 tabs with 2 refills. And that was common practice after most surgical procedures.
My parents didn't know they were following what somebody with a medical doctorate degree was telling them was good for their child. And it wasn't until after the prescription stopped that I realized something else was going on.
When the pill epidemic came, doctors wasn't prescribing pills like they normally did, And I'm like, my medical history, but they just wasn't giving me prescriptions. So I had to look elsewhere, to get out, started buying pills.
And that's when motherfuckers start looking at street drugs, heroin, cocaine.
It was off the street.
So it started with heroin. Where did it go?
I did not pre-watch this. I want to say it again.
There.
Stayed with heroin for a few years. Once fentanyl hit the city, it was nearly impossible to continue getting heroin, and fentanyl was all that was around.
Now on every corner, everybody's selling fentanyl. Everybody.
It's kind of a bad time to be a young person because any pill or any powder that's bought on the black market could potentially be laced with fentanyl and could kill you immediately.
Actually, the first time I took...
I'm talking, that dude was not fucking around. It could kill you, one pill. You're like, I just need that high. And you take that one fucking pill. Boom, lights out. That's crazy. Hell fucking no.
Took it, I overdosed. I had been going to the same dealer for a couple of years at this point and always knew how much I could do, and saw him the day prior, did a certain amount, saw him the next day, did that same amount, and next thing I know I was waking up on the side of the road with EMTs around me.
Do you remember the first time you took fentanyl?
Honestly, I don't remember the exact time because I probably thought it was heroin. Didn't even realize I was getting fentanyl.
I had bought like 2 prescriptions of Perk 10s, thinking that they was Perk 10s, but they was fentanyl pills.
You're talking on, you bought this on the street from somebody, but you thought it was...
Yeah, I mean, they had the bottle and the name on them and everything.
Did you know there was fentanyl in it the first time you took it?
Not at all. It's almost indistinguishable.
Fentanyl looks like many other drugs, and it has no smell or taste. It's often laced into other drugs in the form of powder or pills, and the naked eye can't tell the difference.
Yeah, they do that shit to get you more addicted. They're like, oh man. And I've even heard of some drug dealers going, man, if this kills like a couple of people, then, you know, then more people come for it. If it kills a couple of people, they're like, you got good shit.
As a result, the stuff that people are buying on the street has an unpredictable potency.
Too much fentanyl in the body can make someone feel nauseous or dizzy or cause them to start vomiting. A fatal dose of fentanyl will paralyze the respiratory system and kill the user in seconds.
So that's actually how fentanyl kills, is it paralyzes the lungs. So you just literally can't breathe.
Overdosed twice and been pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital one of those times.
How many times did you overdose?
Last year, probably 11 times.
You overdosed 11 times?
Boy. Yeah.
About 7 times.
Shit.
I died about 7 times, and every time I overdosed, I kept coming back. Every time. These people have did fentanyl once, a little amount, and they died immediately. Didn't come back.
Fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Despite how much stronger it is, addicts have to use it.
Damn, that is some potent shit. Man, China's trying to fuck us up. I'm telling you.
More to avoid withdrawals.
So to put it into perspective, with heroin, I would have to use 4 or 5 times a day, and I would make it through the day and be okay for what I considered okay. Fentanyl would be an every 30-minute, every hour use just to get through the day. So Jesus. 10, 15 times a day. So, I mean, it required twice as much because even though the high was stronger, it lasted much less. I'm up at 1 a.m. still doing fentanyl, just trying to get to sleep.
If I put drugs in my system, I'ma feel better, but the pain gonna start over again when it's gone.
Most mornings, if I woke up without it, I would pretty much be in the fetal position on my bed in cold sweats.
Man, it could be 80 degrees outside and you're freezing cold.
Can't make it to the bathroom sometimes, throwing up on my floor, my bed. I mean, it's a really, really bad sickness.
Once my bones would start to just crunch up and I'd get tense up, that was the moment that I would just say, I can't do this, and I'd go get high.
If you were freezing cold and you had a quilted blanket in the oven and you pulled it out and you pulled it from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, it's about that feeling.
And then an hour later, it's back to freezing.
Back to freezing cold and have to get another blanket.
I'm actually getting kind of cold just talking about it, really.
If the second fentanyl enters your body, it's instantly. And so you get a rush of serotonin and euphoria from not only the drug, but also the relief.
Addiction is really, it's powerful, man. People clean right now still deals with it. We're not perfect. It's a disease because it's gonna be with us forever.
People don't understand. They think it's something you did to them.
Yeah, and it's like,
they're just
it's like, once you, that's why I was saying earlier, like, dude, you don't even want to experience that. That's why whenever all those people surround me and they're like, oh, just take one hit, I'm like, I don't even want to know what that shit feels like, bro, because no, it's no good.
A bad kid or, stuff like that.
It's not a bad kid. It's that you didn't have a dad in the household. I don't think she was a bad kid at all. I don't think she was a bad mother. I just think, there needs to be the nuclear family is so fucking important, man. It's just unbelievable how important that is. And it sucks that she experienced this, man. It sucks.
With this kind of death, there is so much of a stigma. I had a lady in the grocery store ask how I was doing the other night. I'm like, oh, I'm doing okay. I said I lost my daughter. And she asked me how, and I told her, and she's like, oh, not I'm sorry, or no hug, no nothing, no, just, oh. And I wouldn't be that way to anybody, I'm like, a death is a death.
But if you notice, there is no man.
You lost a child, nobody should have to do that.
Involved.
They just act like, oh,
no pictures of a dude.
One more off the street. And that's hurtful because we do grieve differently, and I think that she would be happy that I'm doing this.
Right after we lost Robbie, I had a daughter get married that June, and he should have been there. And then his little...
Both of these situations, there's no dude involved. There's no man. Where is the dad to guide this young dude on the right path? All these people, they get fucking married. Like, it's like, oh, I just got to get married. I just got to get married and have kids. And it's such a fucking selfish fucking thing. Rather than finding somebody that you should be with. And you're like, you can show your children what a loving relationship is like, and what the yin and yang of like a loving, nurturing mother and a fucking disciplining father is. I think it's fucked, man. Both of these situations, there's no dude. Where's the husband? Nowhere. Probably because the mom felt like, well, she got pressured into like, oh, I just got to get married. I got to get married. I got to have a man. I got to have a man. You don't have to have nobody. And you don't have to have kids. Why would you have kids when you don't have a stable foundation?
Little brother got married.
And the only reason why I say that is because I myself come from a broken home. And so this pisses me off. Because, I personally experienced my mother being with a dude, random dude, and hearing him yell at her and say, it's either him or me, meaning him being me. And then next thing you know, my biological father was coming in picking me up. No kid should ever have to be put through that. And that's why you don't make these fucking dumbass decisions and just like selfish, fucking completely fucking selfish decisions. Like, oh, I want to have a family. How about you fucking build the proper foundation for a family before you even start thinking about that? Because if you don't have the man involved, guess what? Your life got 500 times more difficult because now you have to be the fucking man. And unless you can go into that room and say, listen, motherfucker, this is what you're going to do. And you better do it or else. And that is a natural thing that comes to you as a woman, then, you know, you should just wait on having kids till you find the right man. I'm not saying that every individual that doesn't have a dad is going to grow up to be a piece of shit, but I'm saying it certainly isn't going to help.
In July, so we had a wedding in June and July, and his little brother
and I can tell right off the bat, her kids walked all over her. They just walked all over her. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I'm just saying it how it is. They did whatever the fuck they wanted. They stayed out late. They didn't have curfews. They didn't have fucking responsibilities. And you know what? They, at the end of the day, I think they loved her, but the respect was not there.
He really wanted him at his wedding, and he wasn't there, so he should have been there.
Unfortunately, I don't really think there's a way to stop fentanyl from getting into the country. Even if you get China to really crack down on this, the trade is going to move somewhere else. It's kind of like a game of whack-a-mole. You know, every time you try to stop it, it just pops its head up somewhere else. All we can really do is try to help people understand.
All we got to do is just have everybody have a nuclear, like a man in the fucking household and a woman. That's all you got to do. It's that easy.
Understand what fentanyl is, try to convince them to stay away from it, and try to improve the treatment options for people who do become addicted to it.
Would you say that combating drug addiction right now is a top priority in Jeff City?
No, I don't think that it is overall. And again, it goes back to the stigma of it.
The whole system, that framework of harm reduction that we've been building and had buy-in from the government is under attack with false evidence and false narratives.
And when you start making healthcare political, talking about saving lives, shame on us. We're suffering a crisis that this could have reduced harm, it could have saved lives, and we could have directed folks to rehabilitation.
Trish Gunby is a state representative in Missouri. She sponsored House Bill 2570, which would have started a program to distribute fentanyl test strips to communities in Missouri. Other states are already utilizing test strips to prevent overdoses.
And then we would have been able to track how well the program worked and, hopefully save lives. And it just did not move at all. It's a program that has been done nationally.
Because these motherfuckers are trying to get high, dude. They're trying to get high. What are you talking about? They're sitting there going, man, if I test it, it's like if you think you have a sickness, you don't want to go to the doctor because the doctor might verify the fact that you have a sickness. It's like you don't want to test your shit because of the fact that you might find out that it actually has fentanyl in it, and then you're like, oh shit, I can't take it. God, these people, I swear.
In red and blue states. For me, vetting it's a bill that saves lives. How much more do you need to know? Prescription drug monitoring, that took 8 years to get across the finish line.
I had sponsored that for 8 years before, and it was really just a fight every single session.
Missouri Senator Holly Rader's prescription drug monitoring bill was finally signed into law in 2021. Missouri was the last state in the country to pass that legislation.
And I grew up in drug addiction and or in and around it, and I understand it. I understand it from the viewpoint as a child growing up in it. I understand it from the viewpoint as a mother whose child got caught in it.
This chick is going off and doing a line of fentanyl right after this. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You know, even though she wasn't raised around it. I raised her in church, a mama up in her business all the time because I knew the signs. I knew what to watch for. But yet she cut her finger at work, went to the emergency room at 17, got it stitched up, and they gave her a script. I didn't know anything about it because in Missouri, you're an adult at 17. Once they were finished, she just started buying them at work because she was sick, because her body was sick. She felt awful. She started buying them at work. That took her down 13 years of deep addiction, shooting up, turned into meth, heroin, bath salts, my grandson being born with opioids in his system and me taking custody of him. She's 8 years clean now and the best mama I know. But that story I try to illustrate and show how it just doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what your DNA is and how educated you are about this issue. That's what matters. And
yeah, and see, that's the difference is this mom was all up in her business.
None of that has anything to do with morals.
It's only in America. The first syringe access program opened in the Netherlands, funded by the Netherlands government in response to a hepatitis B outbreak in the 1970s. And the first safe consumption site opened in Bern, Switzerland in 1986. Worldwide, these programs are accepted, they're evidence-based, and they're successful. When we come here, people want to plug morality into what we know as science and what we know as best practices to save lives.
Chad Sabora is the executive director of the Mode Network Outreach Center on South Broadway and a former heroin addict. He said many people thought he wouldn't survive his addiction, but he overcame it, and today he helps others get treatment.
I mean, the situation right now is that we're bare bones for funding. Harm reduction, centers that work off that philosophical approach operate off like a car driving on fumes.
Certainly our foster care system is exploding, has been exploding for years, and the majority of those kids have come from substance abuse.
This mom, I guarantee you, was a ball buster. I guarantee you she did not let her kids get away with shit.
And so there are many rippling effects to drug addiction and the opioid crisis specifically.
If we don't fund those things and if we don't decide that that's a priority as a state, then it's going to continue to happen. And people think that a lot of this stuff maybe ends up in urban areas, but this particular epidemic is across the state. It affects rural communities, it affects urban, suburban areas. Like many things, it all boils down to money. And where we decide to put our money and where we put it, that typically says what we value the most.
And so you've probably seen or heard kind of the old adage where all these bodies are floating downstream and people are just picking them up and taking them out of the water. And no one stops and says, why are all these bodies here? So instead of putting an ambulance down at the bottom to figure out how to get these bodies from floating downstream, let's put a gosh darn fence up.
Nicole Dawsey is the executive director of Prevent Ed. The nonprofit works with students to provide comprehensive drug and mental health education.
It takes about $200 for us to go in and teach a classroom of 25 students. You can do the math. That ain't a lot of money, right? Versus holding somebody in a cell or a treatment bed. It's a lot more expensive.
The state spends like $60 million a year on hepatitis C cases. Syringe programs can reduce that by 50% in new cases. You know, you look at an overdose death, which is preventable for $1. or $5 or something like that. When somebody dies, your minimum cost to tax, $10,000. You got toxicology. You've lost a member of our capitalist society that buys and sells goods. And you can look at me, for example. Taxpayer naloxone saved my life many years ago, a long time ago. $100 was invested into me. Now in my lifetime, I'll probably pay the federal government over $1 million in taxes. So if I had died, that would have been a loss to the federal government in $1 million. So why are they not willing to invest $1 to save $1 million?
This is a way, you're saying, to save taxpayers' money?
Well, this is a way to sometimes get to people that lack empathy. And you need to go to fiscal responsibility as well. Because not only is this the right thing to do for other people, for humans, so they don't die, it's going to be the most cost-effective thing, at the current situation.
Before I got there, we had one senator that had made a comment of, well, it's just a cleansing of the gene pool. And it's like, okay, we've come a long way from there in educating people about how awful the stigma is. If somebody has a bad heart condition because they've been a smoker all their life, we don't prevent them. We don't say, oh no, you don't get your heart medication. You did this.
She's right.
It's an addiction. I think that we've come a long way, but we're certainly not where we need to be when it comes to people focusing on this issue.
No.
People don't know what they don't know.
We're not.
And, that was hard for me to accept when I got in the legislature, because people seem really pompous that haven't been seeing this face to face.
Well, the part of the problem is that there are so many people in the government that aren't just getting fucking millions of dollars just to let shit happen. Okay, let's not pretend like there aren't certain individuals that go into a legislative job making $150,000 a year, and then after 5 years, somehow you are a millionaire. How the fuck does that happen? Because can somebody explain to me? I would like to become a millionaire after making $150,000 a year for 4 or 5 years. But there's something going on behind the scenes that we have no idea about. And that's why I say that it's only the most ruthless individuals that are going to really thrive. That's why I say, all these individuals call for a Marxist kind of society, and it's okay. Well, we're kind of already there, because the most brutal individuals are the only ones that are really making any kind of money, that are really thriving. Meanwhile, everybody else is down below the white picket fence, just searching for scraps.
There was a major commission study between Lancet, the medical journal Lancet, and Stanford University. And I saw a figure, they have a modeling figure that says between now and the end of the decade, we will lose about 1.2 million people. It absolutely angered me that you would just fatalistically say,
Man, I'm telling you what, Indian people, they know what the hell they're talking about. They're just wise.
Let's just accept that we'll lose about another million people. That is unacceptable to me. We have the resources.
Fentanyl and drug overdose deaths are getting to be even worse than COVID deaths, and yet we don't have that.
COVID wasn't even a fucking thing. What are you talking about? That's like saying fentanyl deaths are getting to be worse than flu deaths. COVID was a bunch of bullshit, dude.
same state of emergency. We don't have that same sort of outlay of funds and resources.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And I think we really
that's
need
the
that.
problem.
We do have to treat this as a medical.
That's the problem, is that we paid more attention to COVID than we actually did like some shit that would kill motherfuckers like on the spot. But COVID, oh god damn. Oh, well, you know, there's like a 5% chance that you'll die if you have a comorbidity. That whole fucking thing was a fucking sham. I'm calling it right now. I'm just saying it. You know, Pfizer, all those motherfuckers, man, they made so much money, dude. They could buy your fucking entire family.
Problem, and we do have the right medicine.
There are 3 FDA-approved medications to fight opioid addiction: buprenorphine, methadone.
Yeah, you don't see those motherfuckers developing that shit, do you?
And naltrexone.
You know, there's no cookie cutter, you know, this is it. You know, it's very individual.
You know why? You know why those drugs don't exist? Because they want you hooked on them.
Unfortunately, when it comes to addiction treatment, we are still in the dark ages. We have not shown the kind of frontier mentality that you see in medicine.
Naloxone is a drug that reverses the effects of an opioid.
And see, this is where, that's the first dumb thing that I think that I've seen that Indian guy say. I mean, I don't know if it was dumb. I don't think it was actually dumb, but you know these companies, you got to be high as fucking maxed out on fentanyl without dying to believe the fact that these companies, Pfizer and all these other little motherfuckers that run these goddamn pharmaceutical fucking companies and shit like that, you gotta know that it's like, it's not there. If you were to ask them in private as a best friend, you know that they would be like, bro, we got no plan on solving this. We spending all of our resources on making the next fentanyl. That's the fucking funny part. You know, if you were their best friend, that's exactly what the fuck they would say.
Overdose.
Naloxone is better known under the brand name Narcan.
So if somebody is overdosing on any opioid, naloxone will displace some of those opioids because it has a stronger magnetic effect to the receptors in the brain than all opioids. So it will kick out some that are there, allow the person to resume normal breathing, which in turn basically is what reverses the overdose, and the individual wakes up.
News 4's cameras caught this man who OD'd at a bus stop near North Florissant and St. Louis Avenue. St. Louis Fire responded, giving the man Narcan and reviving him.
Paramedics carry Narcan for responding to overdoses. The St. Louis City Fire Department used more than 10,000 shots of Narcan in the last 4 years. That's an average of 7 times a day.
That dude is white as
Narcan
fuck.
Quite a few times. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
That motherfucker was
Narcan
dead as hell.
Only brought me back to get high again. That's all it did. I'm not for it, but I can't say that I'm against it either, because it does help save lives to an extent. But it didn't help suppress any of the cravings or any of the mindset that led.
These motherfuckers be thinking like, hey man, maybe let me get 10 of those Narcans. I'll hit those. Maybe that'll get me fucked up.
Me back to getting high.
You know, there's a difference between treatment programs and recovery programs, and that's another area that just unless you've been in it, you really don't understand. And, you know, people need to go to treatment to get clean and to get healthy. But it's so much more than that, because you have to learn to manage your triggers. You have to have a community of recovery specialists around you while you walk that out. Some people it takes 2 years, some people it may be your entire life that you still need that support.
For the longest time we have neglected in the black community here. Enough is enough.
The local black community has been affected especially hard by the overdose epidemic. In February, 8 people died in the Central West End from the same batch of drugs laced with fentanyl. All 8 of them were black, and black men specifically are 3 times as likely as any other demographic to die of an opioid overdose.
You know why? You know why? Because their dads don't stick around. I'm calling it how it is. It's because of the family unit. It doesn't exist. I don't know why, but I'm sure it has something to do with, I honestly, I can't speak to it that much, but I just know that the family unit is not as strong with black families as it is with other families, other demographics, I should say. But at the same time, the thing is, I feel like, and I mean, like, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I feel like it either is there, like it's there, like that dad is going to exist, and he gonna make sure, and the family unit is strong, or it doesn't exist at all.
Overdose in Missouri.
That's what we suffer from. It's a poster child for benign neglect. Then we still deal with people saying, it can't be like that. Why don't those people just simply put them?
Now, if this dude talks about a father not being present, man, I'm like Nostradamus. But yeah, like, let's see what he has to say.
Themselves about their own bootstraps. Addiction is a heavy weight. It buckles the knees.
You need dads to stick around.
And that evening, he said, "Pastor, thank you so much for all that you have done. I really appreciate you so much." Well, Matt, what I didn't realize was that Ryan was saying goodbye, and he went home that evening and he overdosed. So this shirt here and this seat here reminds us of a time where we were ill-equipped, where we were ignorant, and where we made a lot of mistakes, costly, pricey mistakes in this drug addiction pandemic.
Jubilee Community Church sits on North Grand Boulevard in North St. Louis. After Ryan died of an
I just feel like, if there were more black, men who kind of were like, "Hey man, dude, that's fucked up. You can't go get a girl pregnant and then just dip out, bro. That's messed up. You can't do that."
Overdose,
then things would not be the way they are.
The church's leaders adapted their approach to addiction in the community.
They are in a state of hopelessness and despair, right? So they just need somebody to just pat them on the back or, shake their hand, hold them or hug them. They just need to know that
they need a
somebody
dad.
cares that much.
They need a motherfucking dad.
This place, we treat things such as addiction, homelessness, and mental illnesses in ministry.
When the drug took me to the point that my whole family abandoned me, I was homeless, sleeping up on the bridges, being in places where people would never think that exists. It got to the point that, okay, I got drugs, that's all I got. I got tired one day, man. It got to be more to this. I can't keep living life like this.
This is another one of the...
See, that's the point. That's the point you reach. where it's either like, man, I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of, I gotta go home. I gotta go home, meaning I gotta stop doing this shit. I gotta get back to who I am, who I was.
Smaller rooms where people can just sit and rest, and then another...
Jubilee Community Church partnered with the Assisted Recovery Centers of America to put a treatment clinic inside the church. Patients get medically assisted treatment there, as well as mental health counseling.
Because there was no hope, especially with the black community. There was nothing, we call it a treatment desert. And I said, I want to build an oasis within the desert.
I didn't think about the future. And now I do. I think about when I turn.
You see, you look at this dude. This is a motherfucker. He's a black dude, obviously. But you know what? If this dude had a kid, there ain't no way in hell he would fucking just let them run amok, let them do whatever the fuck they want. He gonna keep a keen eye on that little motherfucker. Because you know what? He knows how fast and how brutal you can fuck your life up.
65 when I retire, having money put up. I say for the first time in my life, I felt out taxes. I did taxes. Yeah, I felt out income taxes. Didn't get nothing, but...
This motherfucker would never... He'd be like, bro, I'm keeping a keen eye on your little ass.
I did it,
It's
Good for
wonderful
you, bro.
to see them when the light bulb goes off, when they start living life again, when they start really thriving. It's such an honor and a privilege to see them.
A place where there's hope, a place away from the mess of the street. Nobody wants that. And when they can come into an environment like this and feel the love and the care of a supporting staff, it just becomes the first step in the right direction for them.
When you come so far in life, accomplishing things, a drug is not worth losing everything.
And the street is nothing but hopelessness.
Like drugs get you high and they make you feel good, right? But it's so many more things in life that make you feel better. Setting goals. And actually reaching them goals. Like I set it goals in my life I made a 3-year goal and I accomplished them in 6 months. That did it. It was over with after that.
What were those goals?
Okay, they was kind of not that big. A job, a bank account, and a car.
You say it's not that big, but is that something that you could have done in addiction?
Never.
Man, shit, bro. Let me tell you something right now. In 6 months, that's damn good. That's damn good. A job, a bank account, and a car. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Especially coming back from where you been. Dude, good on you. Good on you. Don't you fucking dare downplay that shit, man.
And today I'm here to face the judge after leaving the state without permission for a second-degree burglary charge that I pled guilty to back in 2018. I work 2 jobs. I'm active in the recovery program, in contact with my kids, working on getting my kids back. I just moved into my own apartment.
Good for you, bro.
Doing everything I can to be a productive member of society now. It would mean a lot. Not having to report to somebody dictating what I can do in my lifestyle and control my every moment.
And see, like, man, we all, as not people of this, as people that are not addicted to this shit, like, you have to think about the hell these motherfuckers have had to run through in order to just be able to be your own person. Think about that. To them, to this dude right here, that is like so valuable. Like, I don't have to, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to, you know, I mean, like, that's crazy. That's an absolute blessing. Good on him, man. You know, that's awesome.
Of life, so to be free of those chains as well as the chains of addiction.
Hell yeah, dude.
Any other time I would be worried because I was doing the wrong thing. Whenever I was walking into the courthouse, this is my first time where I'm actually walking in hopeful because I am doing the right thing. And here comes security.
Justin has been sober for more than a year. On April 21st, 2022, he was released from court supervision for the first time in 16 years.
Fuck. Yeah. Dude, that makes me so fucking happy. That makes me so fucking happy, the fact that he did it. And so it's kind of like running the 5-minute mile. Nobody thought anybody could run a 5-minute mile, and he did it. But once the first person ran a 5-minute mile, all of a sudden, all these motherfuckers start breaking the 5-minute mile. That's good. That's good, man. It's good shit.
He called the man who helped him get treatment right after walking out of the courthouse.
Fuck yeah, dude. That dude would be like a dad.
I'm proud of you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. You know I'm always here. And
The only thing that could have made this moment better is if they'd have walked my son out right then and there. That's the only thing that could have made it better. I can't wait to have him back in my house. I can only imagine what I can bring as a father to my son.
Man, what you could bring to your son as a father? Shit, dude. The shit you could save him from. The shit you could save him from. Be like, I see where you're going, little man. I see where you're going. Don't do it. I'm going to have to bust that ass if you start doing it.
Being sober.
You're climbing a very tall mountain here.
Oh, yeah, I'll be dead before I get to the top. Someone else is going to have to finish for me.
I would like to see Missouri be at the forefront. I'm tired of seeing us figure it out and we're the very last one, because by then we've lost so many lives.
We've got to deal with right where people are right now, and that's critical.
We have to all be pushing in the same direction to have the outcomes that are available and possible. But in order to do that, we've got to remove the stigma.
What are we doing here? What are we doing? We've got to get in front of it.
We have to build a sense of urgency around this, right? Docs helped start this. It's like,
you know what you could do? Start with China.
Why aren't more physicians engaged in this work?
I think we need to fight the drug overdose crisis the same way we're fighting COVID, you know, kind of like an all hands on deck situation.
If you're not able to grasp the concept that people around you are struggling and you should help, I think that's where the problem lies, is that we've lost our humility and humanity amongst each other.
We've got to show that there are ways that we can help people, because too often everybody's just wringing their hands and saying there's nothing we can do. Well, that's not good enough. We got to figure stuff out.
Of course it's not good enough. Good for this fucking motherfucker. Badass fucking dude. Look, all these motherfuckers should be heroes. Good for fucking them. Good for this fucking motherfucker too. Malcolm Johnson has been sober for 7 months. After years of hustling, he now works in property maintenance. Good for him, bro. Shit. I'm proud of you, motherfucker. Like, seriously. This shit makes my heart happy. Good for them. Good for them. You know, it's shit like this that actually needs to get out there more. Like, this was fucking great. This was great. This is some great shit, man. Like, where is this shit on Shorts? Man, good for them. I am proud of all those motherfuckers, man. Good for them. And you know, I don't know if you feel like you learned anything from my commentary, essentially, but I hope you did. I hope I haven't spent over an hour doing this for nothing. I hope that somebody takes something of what I've made from this amazing documentary, and I hope that I've and I don't know if I would call it embellish or improve or what it is. I've just added another dynamic to it, I guess. But I hope that somebody takes something from what I've made and does something with it.